I am a disruptor. Let me tell you what that means. Our nervous systems love safety through the habitual. And so all of your patterns that you have, the binging of TV, comparing, judging, shopping, drinking, smoking pot to numb out, the dating apps to numb out, the obsessing and ruminating thinking, the overthinking, the needing to know, the control, all the ways that control sneakily and subtly and insidiously leaks into our lives. I come in and I disrupt those patterns and I bring forth everything inside that you are avoiding, numbing, shutting down, not wanting to look at, and utilizing those patterns as an avoidance of the truth. And then together, we create the nervous system safety. So you have a nervous system that feels like it's dripping in gold so that you can process the trauma coded for within it, release those old ways of safety that are keeping you stuck and disconnected and potentially broke. And we create new patterns, new ways of relating to the world so that you can create a new life. Hello, I am Yaro K. Welcome to Yaro K Academy of Healing, Expanding, Spiritually Transforming, and Mastering Energetics. I'm your host, Yaro K. You may be listening on my podcast as well. I'm a leadership mentor, nervous system genius, clinically trained therapist, spiritual teacher, and energetic sorceress, which just means I'm a master of energetics and I can teach you to be as well. So these patterns that I'm discussing, they are normalized in society. People binge TV all the time. We think it's normal. They scroll on their phones. We think it's normal. They overthink, they ruminate, they seek validation. They go into these stories like something happens and all of a sudden they're like off on the racehorse, like going into a 5 million things. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if they steal my client? What if all of the things, right? Like, what if I don't get the money? What if I don't get the partner? What if they're out doing this thing? What if like all the stories start to come up, and that is all stemming from a dysregulated nervous system, an activated inner child, unprocessed trauma, and a web of defenses through which you know safety. Your nervous system knows safety, and your nervous system is a sneaky little bitch, and she or he or they will literally do anything they can to keep you from letting go of the thing that they know safety through. So if you're drinking every night and they know safety through that, they don't care if you're in the ditch. They, meaning your nervous system, doesn't care if you're in the ditch. You're alive and it wants you to be alive. And so, however, it knows safety and aliveness is how it will have you continually relate. And this will be unconscious. And you'll be trying to make changes like if it's working out or meditating every day or reading new books or even having new thought patterns, believing new narratives about yourself, believing you can create a different reality, believing you can create a different existence, right? You could be trying to do all these things and you get a little ways and then you hit a wall. Gay Hendricks calls this your glass ceiling of expansion. This is your nervous system sabotaging you because going any farther will not be safe for you. And usually that means that your nervous system thinks if you expand anymore in this direction, I always go this way for the wounded and this way for the expansion. I don't know why, that's just what happens. If you expand anymore, you're going to lose all your people. Now, this may seem like that's ridiculous, Yarrow. I don't care about losing those people. Your nervous system doesn't care what you think, right? Your brain lies to you because your nervous system is like, don't tell her the truth. Don't tell her the truth. Don't let her know. Don't let her know we're sabotaging her. Self-sabotage is a safety mechanism. Imposter syndrome is a safety mechanism. Leaking your power is a safety mechanism. Staying attached to someone who you don't want to be with is a safety mechanism. Trying to prove your worth is a safety mechanism. All of these ways are ways you know safety. Like you could be like on the hamster wheel. Why isn't it happening yet? Why isn't it happening yet? Why isn't it happening yet? But yet your nervous system knows safety through that hamster wheel, through that story. That's how it knows safety. And so it's not going to happen, whatever the it is, could be a relationship, could be money, could be a career, could be business, could be getting more clients, it could be moving across the country, it could be freaking moving to another country. It doesn't matter what the it is. There could be a million it's. It won't happen because your nervous system will perpetually sabotage you because it doesn't think it's safe. And so this is where I come in. I come in and I'm a disruptor of that energy. I'm like, oh, I see the pattern. Let's stop. Let's breathe. Let's create safety. How do we titrate the experience so that you can actually create a new way of safety? Now, you don't necessarily need me to do this, but most of the time, I'm going to twirl my hair while I say this because I like to twirl my hair. Most of the time, this shit's unconscious and we can't see it. And so we need a mirror. And that mirror doesn't have to be me, but I'm really good at it. And I'm just going to flat out own that because I am really good at it. I'm really good at seeing all the sneaky, subtle ways you're lying to yourself, you're justifying, you're denying, you're creating stories, you're attaching on. It is literally my superpower. I can sense your subconscious and put words to it. And one of three things will happen. You'll either go, oh, damn, that's true. Or you'll get defensive and pissed off, which usually means it's true. Or you'll be like, nah, not quite. And I'll go, okay, let's dig a little bit more. And usually we'll dig a little bit more and we'll end up where we started. Because that's how unconscious this shit is. Sometimes we're so unconscious of the ways we're relating to the world and we're lying to ourselves so much that we have no idea what's actually happening and then we're disconnected. We are avoiding parts of ourselves because we're avoiding shame and we're perpetuating old patterns and we're staying stuck in this loop, right? Stuck in the loop of the old patterns and the energy leaks. And we have to feel safe to stop, seal up the energy leaks with gold, get honest about what we're doing, and then titrate the nervous system to go, okay, what would it look like if I decided to do something new? If I embodied a new identity, right? You can only embody a new identity if your nervous system feels safe for you to embody a new identity. You can think you're embodying a new identity all day long, but if you're still perpetually relating in the old ways, you're not actually embodying a new identity. So, what would it actually look like for you to embody a new identity? What would it actually look like? I just take a breath and land there because you have to show the safety of your nervous system. So I want you to do a few things. Write down the 3 ways that you're leaking your energy and your power. Write down the 3 ways, next to each of those 3 ways, write down why you justify it, what feels unsafe for you about releasing it, and then what would you replace it with and to start to embody a new identity. And then what's a way that you're going to start to embody that today, right now, in this moment, without justifying, denying, shutting down, defending. I used to binge TV and I would justify it. I was teaching workshops called Alchemizing Pain into Light, and then I was teaching workshops called The Art of Connecting. And I would talk about addictive behaviors and I would I would speak about shifting into new ways of being. And I would joke about my binging TV addiction. I knew it was an addiction. I knew I was using the characters to create intimacy in my own life because I was avoiding a lot of deep pain that I kind of knew I was avoiding, but was a little bit unconscious of the fact that I was avoiding. I knew it felt really safe to just collapse after a long day of teaching yoga, working in an addiction center. And I would come home and I would just collapse in front of the TV and I would watch the same shows over and over and over. And everybody kind of jokes about this in this world, like, oh, haha, I've watched Friends a million times, or Gilmore Girls a million times, or Sex in the City a million times. I've watched all of them a million times, by the way. Gilmore Girls and Sex in the City were 2 of my faves. Gossip Girl, Californication, whew, I loved those ones. Gossip Girl and Gilmore Girls were probably the 2 that I binged the most often. And I would justify it and joke about it and think it was funny. It was not funny. In 2020, I got a download while in a Kundalini yoga meditation, give up TV. I was like, that's fucking crazy. You have got to think I'm insane, that I'm going to give up TV. We were in the pandemic. New York was still kind of shut down. I was living in New York City at the time, but I did it. 2 weeks later, I started my business. I have not gone back to TV since. I have no interest in watching it anymore because I have created a life that feels how I want it to feel. I have a seven-figure healing business. I travel to Paris and Montana and Hawaii and Chicago and wherever I want to. Paris, I run VIP days. I have ran my own retreats. I have a beautiful life every single day. I have like really magical romantic connections and like a whole I basically am living my own version of Gilmore Girls in some capacity, the Lorelai version. And those watching this who know me, you know. And I would never be doing these things if I were leaking my time and energy through living the lives of characters on TV. So I want you to really sit with, where are you living the life of someone or something else rather than anchoring into and creating your own life? Because this is key for you actually embodying a new way of being, creating a new identity. You're going to have to let go of some of these things that your nervous system literally holds on to, like grips tightly to. And as soon as you can let go of those things, you can start to create a new way of being. Now, when you let go of them, new ones may crop up. Your trauma responses may come forward. You may go into fight or freeze or fawn. Those things might come up. And so you have to be able to create the nervous system safety to move through that. This is another reason why having support is so essential. Eventually, you learn a system and you can actually move through this stuff like this with ease. But initially, we usually need holding to create that attunement nervous system safety. We need conscious awareness brought to creating that nervous system safety. We need identification of the patterns, disrupting of the patterns, which is my specialty, even if you want to kill me sometimes, and then creating of new ways of being, and then allowing it to be a continual evolution. So, I'm a disruptor of patterns. Are you ready to disrupt the pattern with me? Funny story. Now, how you respond to this story will determine a lot about how aligned we actually are. I am learning to read my own Akashic records, which, if you don't know what your Akashic records are, they are like the eternal wisdom for the soul in the ethers, right? Like they house everything from the dawn of time, and all parts of you and all your spirit guides and all of everything, right? Your highest self, everything is there. Some people refer to it as Google for your soul. So I'm learning how to read my own Akashic records. Now I want you to hear this. You can do this on your own. You don't need a guide to learn how, but I have a guide. I have a mentor who's teaching me how to do this. Let me tell you why, because I think we're sneaky motherfuckers. We also will lie to ourselves, our egos will get involved, and we'll make shit up. And so I want a guide who's watching me on this journey so that we can discern what is truth, what is my ego, where am I actually, like, how in alignment am I as I'm doing this very powerful thing that in the spiritual world of nowadays, where we think that we can fucking do everything immediately without needing mentorship, we have really disrespected how powerful this is. So I have a guide. So my first night going into the Akashic Records by myself, because I'm on a 21-day journey every single day of doing this, because I just started this journey, the god Pan came in. Now, if you don't know who Pan is, he's half goat, half man. He's mischievous. He runs with a group of nymphs. He's like jokester, playful, mischievous energy. And he comes in, apparently he's one of my spirit guides, and he's like poking at me and he's like, you need to create some mischief. And I'm like, I don't want to create mischief. Like, just let me be chill. Please, just let me be chill. And he's kind of like, it's making me teary. He's kind of like laughing and poking at me. He's like, you need to create mischief. I'm like, oh. So I just kind of send him away and I get myself out of the records, whatever. I go about my day. I go back in the second night and there he is again. And he's like, listen, you're a disruptor. People in this world are living rigid, controlled, dissatisfied, disconnected lives that lack eros and libido. Eros energy is libido energy, is life force energy, is creative energy, is feeling lit up and juicy and alive. He's like, they are lacking eros energy, and you are meant to come in and disrupt their patterns and help them create a new pattern so that they feel set free. And when I heard him say this, I was like, oh, I could like breathe. I was like, that is who I am. I've made myself wrong for it. I've gotten upset because I trigger people, and I haven't known how to hone this superpower of mine and communicate it in an effective way. And so here I am communicating to you. I am a disruptor of patterns. You could come work with me and we could really dive in deep, or you can just listen to my videos all for free, and you will actually create a new way of being in this world because I want you to feel lit up, juicy, and alive and lit lit with effervescent joy and eros coursing through your being. I want you to feel free and excited and alive by life. Like life is meant to feel effervescent, exciting, joyful, playful, connected, and you can find it in every moment when you know how to access this and tap into it. And when you feel safe to let go of the patterns of the defenses, to anchor into a safety, connection, joy, to be able to process the deep pain you need to process, because you can't experience that eros energy if you're avoiding pain because they're too closely connected. Once you process that pain, it's going to bring you into that eros and that joy energy. But if you're avoiding that pain, you're never going to get to the joy. And so you can do this on your own, or you can come work with me and we can hold you through this process and get you to that point. And I'm just taking a breath. I'm a pattern disruptor. Pan the God said so in my Akashic records. It's happening in your brain right now. Do you want to be like, she's full of shit? That's your very realistic brain. I'm a very realistic human. I obviously have a guide because I will go in there and be like, am I just making this shit up? Am I in fantasy land right now? It feels very real though. And it's kind of profound and exciting. Not kind of, it's actually profound and exciting. So I encourage you to dive deep into the depths of your being. Create nervous system safety so you can release the patterns, so that you can expand into joy, so that you can actually go into places like the Akashic field or working with tarot or your astrology or your human design or any other spiritual practice that you have without bypassing the very real parts of being human. Because all of this stuff is fun and beautiful and super powerful, but the key to it is having the nervous system safety to be able to anchor into your body, because we are meant to be in our bodies, so that you actually have the personal power to hold all of this stuff without getting lost, while maintaining your sense of self and who you are and your being. And that is everything. And it's the key to life. Because with this nervous system safety, you can create from that space in a connected, expansive, and abundant way. So if working with me calls to you, I have a few ways you can do so. I have the portal, which is my 6-month or 12-month group mentorship program. I have the composer, which only has one spot left, and by the time you watch that spot may be gone. I also have magnetism, sex, and power. You can check all of these out on my Instagram. Let me know if you have questions. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Disrupt those patterns. Create a new way of being.